welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so we've gone through all the sources you sent us, car and driver, consumer reports, the lot trying to cut through the usual brand noise.
Yeah, get straight to the facts.
Exactly. And today, we're tackling a big one, the electric crossover fight. It's the Ford Mustang Mach-E taking on the Tesla Model Y.
Two heavyweights in this segment, really.
For sure, and both have had some pretty big updates for the 2025, maybe even bleeding into 2026 models, right? So this rivalry, it feels sharper than ever.
It's definitely moved past the legacy automaker tries to catch the EV startup narrative.
Oh, completely. Now it feels like two different ways of thinking about an EV. You've got Ford leaning into that Mustang heritage, that design, that driving feel. Even in an electric car, I have to admit, there's something about the Mustang name.
It has that pull, doesn't it, that history. Ford knows exactly what they're doing playing that card.
Yeah.
And then you've got Tesla sticking to what they do best.
Yeah.
Sleek design, efficiency, and that massive charging network advantage.
Right.
So our mission here for you, the listener, is pretty straightforward. We're boiling down all these new comparison tests, all the reviews, to figure out where each car really shines now with these updates.
Is the Mach-E actually making a play for the top spot, or is Tesla still just dominant because of the tech and the superchargers?
That's the core question. And we'll look at it through a few lenses. Comfort, value, those are huge. Then performance, technology inside the cabin, and of course the whole charging and range situation.
Okay, let's dive in. The first big takeaway, and this popped up in several sources, was kind of a surprise, wasn't it?
It was. The 2025 Mach-E actually came out on top in some head-to-head tests against the Model Y.
And not because it was necessarily faster.
No, not primarily speed. The big wins for the Mach-E were value and comfort. Mostly comfort, actually.
Value first, though. How did Ford manage that? Prices have been all over the place for EVs.
Well, Ford got pretty aggressive with the 2025 pricing. They dropped the price on the base Select trim quite a bit. It now starts around $37,995, which is down from, almost $42,000 the year before.
That's a serious cut.
It is. And when reviewers factored that in, plus maybe some standard features, they found the Mach-E had an overall value edge. One source put it around $3,600 better value compared to a similar Model Y.
Okay, so cheaper entry point, that definitely gets your attention. But the comfort thing, that feels like old school car making winning out.
I think that's exactly it. It's Ford leveraging what they've always been good at. The reviews consistently said the Mach-E just rides better. It's more comfortable, especially on longer trips.
How so? Like the suspension?
Yeah, suspension tuning, but also the seats themselves. Softer, apparently more supportive in the Mach-E, and it just soaked up bumps and rough roads better than the Model Y, which tends to be stiffer, more sporty, maybe, but less forgiving.
And Ford made some small interior tweaks too, right? I saw something about the gear selector.
Yeah, they moved it to the steering column, like you see in some Mercedes or, older American cars even.
Frees up space in the center console.
Exactly. Little practical touches that improve the day-to-day usability. Now, it's worth noting the Model Y still generally offers a bit more rear legroom, and the door openings are wider, so getting in and out of the back might be easier in the Tesla.
Okay, so Mach-E wins on value and comfort, which is huge for a daily driver crossover. But performance, Mustang implies performance and Tesla implies speed.
Right, that's the traditional trade-off people think of. And generally, for straight-line acceleration, the Model Y often is quicker across the different trim levels. Tesla really engineers for that instant punch. But Ford has seriously closed the gap, especially at the high end. If you look at the Mach-E GT, the top performance version, particularly with the optional performance upgrade, it does 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds.
Whoa!
Which is exactly the same as the Tesla Model Y performance. So top trim versus top trim. It's a dead heat now in pure acceleration.
3.3 seconds in a family SUV. I'm like, it's just nuts, isn't it? Like, are we even impressed by these numbers anymore?
It's kind of normalized, yeah. But the reviewers made a key distinction. It wasn't just about the raw speed. It was about the feel of the drive.
The subjective stuff.
Exactly. The Mach-E was consistently called more enjoyable to drive. More balanced handling, better steering feedback, the driving flair Ford aims for. It feels sporty, maybe a bit stiff, but reviewers noted it still handles bumps better than the Model Y somehow.
So Tesla is maybe clinically fast, while the Mach-E is more engagingly fast.
That seems to be the consensus, yeah. Tesla's about efficient speed. Ford's aiming for the driver who actually enjoys, driving.
Okay, driving feels great, but the EV elephant in the room is always charging and range. That's Tesla's kingdom, right? The supercharger network. Has Ford made any real inroads there with the 25 updates?
Not enough to claim victory, no. Tesla still holds pretty significant advantages here. Let's talk charging speed first.
Okay.
The Model Y can handle up to 250 kilowatts at a DC fast charger, peak speed. The Mach-E, even the newest ones, max out at 150 kilowatts.
And what does that mean in real-world waiting time if I pull up low on battery?
It means the Tesla driver is likely done charging maybe 10, even 12 minutes faster for a typical, say, 10% to 80% charge.
Okay, that adds up on a road trip.
It definitely does. The Mach-E, even with the bigger battery, takes around 43 minutes for that 10 to 80% charge. It's not bad, but the Tesla is noticeably quicker at the fastest chargers.
And the network itself? Still no contest?
The supercharger network is still, well, it's a supercharger network. It's bigger, often more reliable, just seamlessly integrated into the Tesla experience. That's their huge moat.
But aren't other EVs getting access now?
They are, slowly. Mach-E drivers can use some superchargers now with an adapter, and Ford says broader, easier access is coming, supposed to be rolling out properly through 2025. So that gap will shrink. But today, Tesla's network is still a major, major plus.
And raw range. Who goes further on a single charge?
Tesla still takes the crown there, too. The Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive version gets an EPA estimate of, I think, 357 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. The longest range Mach-E, the premium rear-wheel drive, gets about 320 miles, which is good, plenty for most people, most of the time. But if maximum possible range is your absolute top priority, Tesla still leads the segment.
So the story on infrastructure is Tesla leads, but Ford is closing the gap, especially with charging network access coming.
That's a fair summary, yeah.
Okay, let's move inside the car. The cabin. This feels like a real clash of styles. Ford versus Tesla minimalism.
Totally different philosophies. Ford is, well, it's less stark. The Mach-E still has some physical buttons and knobs, particularly for climate control, which honestly a lot of reviewers and I suspect drivers really appreciate.
Yeah, not having to tap through 3 menus just to turn on the heated seats.
Exactly. Plus, you get the big vertical SY&C screen, which has been updated. And importantly, Ford added a standard heat pump across the board.
Yeah.
That's actually a big deal for preserving range in cold weather.
And Tesla. Still screen-centric.
Oh, yeah. Ultra minimalists. Almost everything runs through that big central horizontal screen. But the newer Model Ys are getting some upgrades based on feedback. There's talk of a new little screen for rear passengers, optional ventilated front seats finally, and they've apparently improved sound insulation.
Ah, that was a common complaint, the road noise.
Yeah, they use some redesigned body castings, apparently fewer parts, which helps make it quieter. So Tesla's iterating, but the core minimalist approach remains.
What about the driver assistance tech? Ford's Blue Cruise versus Tesla's full self-driving, or FSD supervised, as they call it now.
This is a really interesting comparison. The sources we looked at actually seem to prefer Blue Cruise for regular highway driving.
Really? Why FSD sounds more advanced?
FSD is arguably more advanced in its ambitions. It tries to handle more complex situations like city streets, though it still requires constant supervision. But Blue Cruise, which is primarily for hands-free highway driving, was described as steadier, more consistent, more reassuring.
So, less capable maybe, but more trustworthy for what it does do.
That seems to be the takeaway. Blue Cruise doesn't try to do as much, but what it does very reliably, giving drivers more confidence. FSD feels more like a beta test, sometimes incredibly capable in moments, but potentially less predictable. That predictability matters a lot for trust.
Makes sense. Okay, one last practical point. Cargo space. If you need to haul stuff.
Model Y wins there. With the back seats folded down, you get about 71, maybe 72 cubic feet in the Tesla. The Mach-E is closer to 60 cubic feet. So for pure hauling capacity, Model Y has the edge.
Got it. Now, before we wrap this up, you mentioned a financial point, something time-sensitive.
Yes, absolutely critical for anyone listening who might be considering buying either of these cars, like soon. It's about the federal EV tax credit, that $7,500 potential discount.
Okay, what's the catch?
The rules are changing, specifically related to where the battery components come from. It's part of the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA, and the deadline is looming September 30th.
So after September 30th.
After September 30th, because of these stricter battery sourcing rules, it's very likely that many trims of both the Model Y and the Mach-E might lose eligibility for the full $70,500. It could drop to half, $3,750 or even zero for some configurations, depending on their specific battery chemistry and origin.
Wow. Okay. So that $38,000 starting price for the Mach-E we talked about, it might effectively become much higher if you wait too long.
Exactly. That potential $7,500 makes a huge difference in the final cost. So there's a real short-term incentive to potentially buy before that deadline if you want to maximize your chances of getting the full credit.
Good to know. Definitely something buyers need to factor in right now.
Creates a bit of market urgency for sure.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. We've got the Mach-E winning on comfort and value, maybe driving feel. We've got Tesla still leading on range, charging speed, and the network, plus cargo space. It really isn't a simple, this one's better anymore, is it?
Not at all. It's genuinely about priorities now. This is a mature rivalry. The choice really truly depends on what you value most.
So let's break it down for the listener. Who should choose the Mach-E?
Okay, choose the Mach-E if you prioritize number one, ride comfort, if you want a smoother daily drive. Also, if the lower starting price and overall value proposition are key for you, if you love that distinctive sporty Mustang look.
Which I admit looks fantastic.
It does. If you prefer having some physical buttons inside, and if you value that engaging, enjoyable handling, that fun-to-drive factor, that's the Mach-E profile.
And the Model Y, who's that for?
Choose the Model Y if your absolute top priorities are maximum possible range and the fastest charging speeds. If you rely heavily on public charging and want the peace of mind of the supercharger network, if you want the most advanced, albeit still evolving, driver assistance tech with FSD, and if you need that slightly larger maximum cargo space.
Speed, range, network, tech edge, that's Tesla. Comfort, value, driving fun, traditional controls, that's Ford.
That sums it up pretty well. And you see this reflected in owner satisfaction, too. Mach-E owners rave about the looks and the drive. Tesla owners rave about the range and the seamless charging. Different priorities.
You really do need to test drive them both, feel the difference yourself. But it's fascinating that Ford has managed to shift the conversation, hasn't it? It's not just about EV metrics anymore.
It really is. And that leads to maybe the final thought here, the provocative question for you to consider.
Go on.
Given that the Mach-E's recent wins in these comparisons were based on things like comfort, value, driving enjoyment, the stuff traditional car companies have honed for decades, does this signal a real shift?
Meaning,
is the EV market kind of growing up, moving past the initial, wow, it's electric phase, the pure tech novelty, and starting to value those traditional automotive strengths more, like ride quality, interior usability, just how pleasant the car is to live with day to day.
When does nicer ride become more important than charges 10 minutes faster for the average person?
Exactly. That's the question. When does comfort truly outweigh convenience for the mainstream buyer? Something to think about.
Definitely something to mull over.
All right, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us. Keep digging into your own sources, keep asking questions.
And happy driving, whatever you choose.